In this, first we'll give an overview of relation and function. Then we'll discuss type of relation and function. We will define composition of functions. We'll define new type of functions called invertible functions. We'll tell you what binary operations we can perform on functions. Before we start on relation, let's understand what relation is. Mathematically, relation has a different meaning altogether. So before we try to understand the mathematical meaning of relation, let's try to understand what relation in our day-to-day life. So the question is, what is relation? Because the whole chapter is about relation and functions. So the main focus is to first understand what is relation. Relation is nothing but a connection between two or among things. That means I have a connection between two things, or I have, let's suppose, three things, and I connect these three things. This is called relation. For example, object A and object B has a relation. Here object A, B and C has a relation. I'll explain more with some real life examples. For example, if you see father, mother and child is a relation. If you see this picture, this guy's father, this lady's mother, and this is the sweet child. There's a relation between these three. Father and mother has a relation. Father, mother and child has a relation. Correct? So there is a relation between these three objects. This cute baby is daughter of this guy. This lady is mother of this kid. So there is a relation between these three. Similarly, if you want to see a relation among two objects, so if you see this, this is husband and this is wife. So there is a relationship between husband and wife. Correct? So this guy is husband for this lady, and this lady is wife for this. So there is a relationship established between two identities. So relationship is nothing but connection between or among things. Between means when I am saying between two objects, so I'll say relationship between two objects. When I'm talking about more than two, then I say among. For example, if I have let's suppose 10 objects and there's a relation established between all these 10 objects, then I'll say the relation among 10 objects. Correct? There can be a relation among 10 objects, because if you have a big family where you have grandfather, grandmother, father, mother, son, daughter, there's so many people, then it's a big relation, a relation between 5 people. If you're talking about a big company, for example, if you're talking about, let's suppose Microsoft, there are 1 lakh people working for the Microsoft. So there's a relationship between 1 lakh people. All are working for Microsoft. There's a relationship. Correct? So relationship is nothing but connection between or among things. Please note, every relation has a pattern or property. For example, in this case, when I say the pattern was that there was a relation, it is father, mother, child relation, husband, wife relation. Or when I told that all the employees of Microsoft, then there's a pattern that all the employees I'm considering are employees of Microsoft. Or you say students of class 10 of, let's suppose, school of ABC public school. So if you see ABC school, so if there is a school called ABC school and there are some 40 students of class 10, all these 40 students will have a relation because they are all part of class 10. Correct? Also, relation involves minimum 2 identity. It can be more than 2, but minimum is 2, because with single identity you can't establish a relation. To establish a relation, you need minimum 2 identity. Now, having understood the relation in real life, let's try to understand relation in mathematical world. We'll give some examples. If I say number P is greater than number, so there is a relation established here. If I take any set, any number P and Q, let's suppose if I take P as 5, I can take Q as 3. So there is a relationship between P and Q, that is P is greater than Q. Correct? So if I say 5 comma 3, it is a relationship I'll say P comma Q is nothing but 5 comma 3. It's a relationship between P and Q where P is greater than Q. If I say line M is perpendicular to line N, let's suppose. This is also a relationship because let's suppose there's a line M here and this is the line N here. There is a relationship between these two lines, that is line M is perpendicular to line N. A is a subset of set B. So let's suppose if I have a bigger set B, in this set I have a smaller set A. So here also if you see there is a relationship between set A and set B. That is A is the subset of bigger set B in terms of sets. If I say that in a right triangle, if this is perpendicular, this is base and this is height, then P square plus B square is equal to S square, as per Pythagoras theorem. It is also a relationship. It is the relationship between three sides, P, B and H, for any right triangle. So this is also one example of relationship in the mathematical. So with this, I think you have a fair understanding of what is relation. Relation is nothing but relation between two or more than two objects. It should have a pattern and it should have two or more than two objects. For example, when I say number P is greater than Q, so I can take any P and any Q, and if it follows P is greater than Q, it's a relationship. A relationship between any two lines, line M and N. Line M is perpendicular to line N. This is a relationship. Set A is subset of bigger set B is a relationship. And for in a right triangle, P square plus B square is equal to S square is also a relationship between three sides P, B and H. Now, having understood the concept of relations in real and mathematical world, let's try to understand the concept of functions. So, what is function? Function is nothing but set of action or activity. So the moment you see function, you should see light, camera, action. That's all. I'll explain you how. For example, let's take police guy be a function. This guy is a police. What is his duty? So if you see this guy is a police, if he meet thief, what he'll do? He'll catch the guy or he'll stop that guy. But if this guy meet a decent person or decent citizen, I'll say, what does this say? You do nothing, you won't catch. So here also if you see this guy is a police and this guy is a thief. Now when police has seen this guy, he'll ask him to stop. When police see the decent man, this guy is a decent citizen, he'll do nothing. He'll just let him go. So what police is doing here? Police is nothing but a function where it is performing set of action or activity based on input. Correct? So here I can say that you can assume police as a box or a function which will perform activity, here I'll say activity based on input. For example, if I give input as thief, it will catch. When I give input as decent guy, what it will do is nothing. Correct? So if you see, police is nothing but a function that performs activity, it catch or do nothing based on the input. If the input is thief, the police will catch. If the input is a decent guy, it will do nothing. Correct? So function is nothing but a box where you give input and you get output. So this is nothing but a teacher. Teacher is a function. Or let's suppose your parent, your dad, your parents is a function. So if you get good grades, what you will get from your parents? You will get chocolates. If you get bad grades in maths, what you will get? You will get scolding. Correct? Or maybe cut in pocket money, or any kind of punishment, anything depending on how your parent is. So if you see here, parent is nothing but a function that is performing some activity. It is sometime giving you chocolate, sometime giving you scolding. So scolding and chocolates, giving chocolates are nothing but activity. And that is based on your input. If you're getting good grades, you're getting chocolates. If you're getting bad grades, you're getting scolding. So this is what function is in real life. When you say function, that is like camera action. That is, there's a person that has to, or there is an identity that has to perform some action. Function means action, correct? So let's repeat. Function means action and relation means connection, correct? So when I'm talking about function, I'm saying action. When I'm talking about relation, I'm talking about connection between two objects, two or more objects. Now let's understand function in mathematical world. For example, this function fx is equal to x squared. So what it will do? So for example, this is a function called x squared. So here you will get input and here you will get output. So if you give input as 1, it will say 1 into 1, that is 1. If you give input as 2, the output will be 2 into 2, that is 4. This is 1, sorry. If you give output as 3, this function will square this. This will become 3 into 3, that is 9. Similarly, if you give, let's suppose 5 as input, you will get 5 into 5 as 25 as the output. So what we see here, the function, if you say fx is equal to x square, this is the function that squares any given number. So this is the function similar to police, right? If you give bad guy, it will cash, good guy, it will nothing, or your parents. So if you get good grade, chocolates, bad grade, you get scolding. Same thing here, right? So you give x, you get x square. You give 1, you get 1 square. You get 2, you got 2 square. You give 3, you got 3 square. You give 5, you got 5 square. So in mathematics, function is in this form. Before going ahead with relation and functions, let's understand or recapitulate what we already know or what we have learned in our previous classes in class 11th, I think. If you are not aware of all these things which are mentioned in this slide, please go and watch class 11 videos. So I assume that you already know what is Cartesian product, what is functions in terms of relations, what is real and real valued function, what are algebra of function, a relation to represent by roster form, set builder form and arrow diagram, and range and codomain. All these things you must know. So if you don't know, please watch exam fear class 11 maths. So once you are done with this and when you know what is Cartesian product, functions in terms of relation, graphs, algebra, function and range implement, we'll proceed to the